Good morning. So, anyway, we are done with the MUGH intro. Okay, so if you have any questions, so you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to Pranav or any of our core members. Okay, so before we start actual sessions, there is a 10 minutes time given to the introduction. So this introduction is to give you a brief overview on the current state of the document. Okay, so before that, I would like to start with a question. Okay, so the question is pretty simple. First question: how many of you work on .NET? Everybody. Fine. Okay, how many .NET frameworks we have right now owned by Microsoft? Not versions. Not version numbers. So how many .NET frameworks Microsoft owns right now? .NET Core. Microsoft, of course, .NET Core is also Microsoft.NET. Okay. Anything else? No? That's it? Okay. So can we run .NET apps other than Windows anywhere? Other than .NET Core? Okay. I can't hear you. Nobody can hear you on the internet.
Do you want a hand mic?
So need a mic, I think. Fine. Okay. But my question was, how many frameworks Microsoft owns right now? Yeah, your answer is 90% correct. Of course, technically 100% correct, but not correct. So this is not anything, just a very high-level overview where we are and where we are moving. Then throughout the day, you are going to learn each topic, deep dive into each topic. Okay? So I didn't introduce myself, Shravan. So in case whoever saw those emails know me, so that is me, myself, Shravan Kumar Kasaragodi. So I work as a senior developer with the RealPage India. Okay? And I'm also a Microsoft MVP for VSDT. Anybody know what is VSDT? So it's a very lengthy talk, that's why I put it short, Visual Studio and Development Technologies. And that's my blog and that's my Twitter, that's the places where you can reach me. But don't send any MUGH related queries and go and post it in my blog feedback form. I don't check that. So if you want to send anything directly, email it to me. Okay, don't post it in the feedback form in the site. Okay? And so this is today's .NET family, and so these are the things. Right now we have 3 frameworks. Okay? 3 are owned by Microsoft. 3 are owned by Microsoft. Yes, you have your standard .NET framework, the standard .NET framework which we know. We have that's there from long enough time, so where you can run any kind of .NET applications on the Windows platform. And 2 years back, Microsoft started rewriting .NET, so which is something what they call is as a .NET Core. So the goal is ultimately to run .NET anywhere, everywhere. And the third one is that that's a mono platform, but no more we call it as a mono. So its underlying framework is mono framework only, but now today we call it as Xamarin, and we use it for mobile application development. We technically nobody develops anything other than mobile apps. So that's a platform. So technically you have 3 frameworks: .NET, .NET Framework, .NET Core, and Mono. And you can build, technically you can build any kind of apps and run it on the Windows. And the .NET Core is meant for running UWP apps on Windows, and ASP.NET Core anywhere. So you should be able to run on any platform, irrespective of Windows, Linux, Mac. So you should be able to run anywhere. That's the goal of .NET Core. And Xamarin, you want to develop an iOS and Android apps on top of the .NET platform using C#. So that's the way to go. So this is what I was talking about, and everything underlying architecture is powered by your CLI, and you have the common languages, common compilers, and same runtime components. But the problem is, so when you look at the .NET framework, you have your standard base class library, which you have been using from ages, and .NET Core, as I said, they want to rewrite from scratch, or they want to separate out the parts, or you want to eliminate the Windows-specific components, which is your core library, and your mono class library. So the problem is, if you want to write a code, reusable code, make it run on all the platforms, you have a PCL, right? How many of you know PCL? Okay, one guy. That's called portable class library. So portable class library is the way to run your code on the multiple platforms. So I'm not going to get into the details what is it, but because we have a dedicated sessions where you can ask the questions what is it really. But making it work on all the platforms also today is not that easy. That easy. So the ultimate goal is to reuse your skills. So you don't need to run three different frameworks. You should learn only one base class library and one framework, and you should be able to run any kind of apps. So the ultimate goal is to separate out your standard library from your three different frameworks. You have three different frameworks and make it a common one standard .NET library. One standard .NET library. So this is not yet there. So this is the way where we are going. This is where we are going. So that you can reuse your skills. Whatever you learn one library, so you should be able to develop any kind of apps. So that's ultimate goal. That's the ultimate goal. So all the innovation, all the .NET innovation is going to happen in your standard .NET standard library, and your app-related innovation happens in the .NET Framework or .NET Core or Xamarin, because these three frameworks target three different things. So you want to run only Windows-specific apps. Windows-specific app, I mean the standard Windows Forms app, your WPF apps, as well as ASP.NET. ASP.NET still runs on the .NET framework. Still runs on a .NET framework. When you come to .NET Core, your UWP, but UWP again runs on only Windows platform, any Windows 10 platform. But the ultimate goal is for ASP.NET Core. So you take .NET Core and ASP.NET Core, run it on any platform. Run it on any platform using the same skills. And of course, Xamarin is still meant for to do the same thing. Just build your iOS, Android, and OS X apps. There's no more called OS X. That's a Mac OS. So we have three tools, three different kinds of tools. One is Visual Studio, another one is Visual Studio Code, and Xamarin Studio. Xamarin Studio is meant for developing, of course, Xamarin apps. Xamarin Studio is available both on the Windows and the Mac. And we have our ultimate IDE, Visual Studio. So we have now classified into two categories, Visual Studio Enterprise and Visual Studio Professional, which is a paid version. And the best thing what Microsoft did with the Visual Studio 2013 is they released a community edition. So normally these community editions are supposed to be very limited edition or any big apps. But what Microsoft did with the Visual Studio 2013 is they technically took the enterprise version and they just made it community version. The only thing is you cannot use it for commercial purpose. So it's a full-fledged Visual Studio. Yes, still you can use it for commercial purpose, but only for startups. People around, I think, believe 5 or 10, there is a limit. It's only meant for startups. But you're a learner, you don't need a Visual Studio license anymore. You can just download the community edition and start using it. Only thing is, if you're individual, still you can use it, but not more than 10 or 5. You can check that number. So you have now Visual Studio Enterprise and Community, both are same. Both supports the plugin. Both are same technically. Only licensing is different. And the new member in the Visual Studio is the Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is not IDE, it's an editor. So it's technically meant for running all mostly front-end apps. So like your Angular, React, Ember, all the front-end sort of stuff, front-end application which you want to develop, and it's a cross-platform IDE. The best part is it runs on Windows, Mac. I'm using it on all the machines every day. So, and all the innovations today is happening. What are all the things what Microsoft is restricted cannot do it in Visual Studio? Right now, everything is happening in the Visual Studio code space. Any front-end related innovation is happening in the Visual Studio code. But there is something new, which is CLI. So ultimately, when we start learning .NET, so if you go back to college days and everybody opens a notepad, unlike all the other language people, write one C# program and CSS space, give the program name, then we are done. We will never go to console and write any .NET programs because we are tied to Visual Studio. We are very much pretty much tightly tied to Visual Studio. So all the .NET development is tied to Visual Studio. That's how Microsoft did all these years. But now these two things are separated. Now everything is CLI first. Everything you should be able to do it on CLI. Come on now. So you can go like any other developer, any other platform developer, as a .NET developer, everything you can right from line 1 to your millions of lines, you can still do it from command line. Same things, you have a tooling support, you have graphical support in Visual Studio. So that's how it's going to be. The future is going to be CLI. So you will have everything on the CLI. You can do that, but same things will be available on the Visual Studio. So this is a quick timeline of the .NET. So we started in 2001, 2012 we open source .NET, TypeScript. Now technically more or less other than .NET, standard whole .NET framework, more or less everything is open source other than the standard .NET framework. So your ASP.NET, ASP.NET Core, Xamarin, as I said, more or less everything is open source. So as I said, open source doesn't mean earlier Microsoft just used to give the source code open. Okay, it's just meant for your reference so that you can learn the internals. But now Microsoft accepts the contributions. So you can actually, if there is some feature you want, you can develop it and create a pull request on the GitHub and submit it. If it is a real feature, there is a bug fix or something, your contributions will actually go into the .NET Framework or .NET Core or Xamarin. So these are the quick graphs. So it's already happened. It's not that you need to start. There are already so many people contributing, and which areas you can quickly see the graphs. And you can see the top contributors by company, comment count, and who are all the people contributing in which area. So I'll share this slide so you can go through who are all doing. So if you're really interested at that level, you can actually go and contribute to .NET. And that's where I stopped the intro to the .NET. So we have a deep dive sessions on each topic. So this is the agenda, probably you guys saw it. So we have a first industrial anniversary update by Abhijit and Darren. Then we have again ASP.NET Core deep dive, and we have deploying .NET apps on Docker. Then followed by lunch, and then Roslyn. Then we have a Xamarin Forms deep dive, and the final session is connected with UWP. So that's the agenda for today. So that's where I stop and hand over it to the Abhijit. So tweet about it. So here is the hashtag. So that's our Twitter handle. So you can use .NETConf16HYD, #MUGH, or if you want to mention MUGH, @MUGH Wits. That's it. So here are the links of the Facebook page, Twitter page, and the blog. So these are the places where you can get all the updates about the MUGH. Right? So thank you.